Welcome back. So let's start part 2 of this video. Okay, as you can see, I was able to fix this problem. Now the image is at the top on smaller screens, but if I enlarge the screen size, I get the image on the right hand side. This is what we were trying to do and I did not do in the last video, so it's fixed. If you don't know how to do this, do not worry, because in this video I will link the GitHub repo for the full project, so you will have access to every single bit of this code. No worries. So let's continue. The next custom component that we need to build is the wallet. So okay, I think there's no point to explain you these imports because you know all of these. So we created a component. That means we need to go to our root page and of course import the component, and this is done. Cool. So let's work on the component, and we see the component here. Of course it's just a piece of text now. So this is going to be a long one because we have plenty of divs, and of course I need to provide the ID. So I need to provide the ID wallet so we can use our navigation to navigate to this section, because this is how we are doing this. Okay, so I now click wallet and I'm taken to this area. Cool. So inside this section, I'm gonna start my first div that I'm gonna style right away. And in here, I'm gonna firstly have two divs. Okay. The first div will contain the image and other stuff. I'm actually gonna style it right away. So I'm gonna copy the image to be a bit faster. I'm gonna place the image right here. I give it some room, and I'm gonna use word wrap. Cool. And then I'm gonna get another div in here that I'm gonna style right away. And inside this div I'm gonna have another div. Yeah, plenty of divs, I told you. This div again contains another div. Flex call because I want to stack things vertically. Here I need to add the animation classes. Okay, so we are getting stuff already, which is gonna go here at the top. There we go. So the small image icon, the text, and this movement is coming from the animation. All good. Which is going to contain basically the text and all of that. I'm gonna copy paste this. This is super simple. No point wasting time on this. Okay. Hopefully I didn't do anything wrong. Let's see. And then I'm gonna have this last image, looks like, not image, sorry, another div. So this div right here, I believe, because I'm gonna need to style this. Then I'm gonna have a couple of divs inside. Cool. And I'm gonna style the first one. And because I'm here, I'm gonna also style this bottom one. Notice that the left column is slightly bigger than the right column. I'm not really explaining you these classes because I've been doing that for a long time, and I really believe that you are familiar with these classes by now, because I use these classes a lot, and these are very usual classes to use when you use Tailwind CSS. That's why I'm not spending time explaining you bit by bit, because I think makes no sense. It's quite simple, but if you have any doubt, just let me know in the comments below. A bit of text, of course, everything is vertically, it's going to be vertically. And I need the other div. Oh, sorry. This is correct. And I need the call to action button. As you can see, I'm sending the users to the real website. So this is the button. I'm sending the users to the real website. So this is built just for educational purposes, and you can and should also visit the official website. Okay? I think this is it, but I also think something is not, yeah, I messed it up here. For sure, yeah. This alignment is no good. So I'm gonna have to check. Oh, I definitely messed it up. So I'm gonna check what I did wrong. Give me a second. Okay, as you can see, I have fixed the misalignment. And if you look to what we are building and our final project, it's the exact same thing. So this is all good. Okay, cool. The next thing that we need to build is actually this section right here. And for us to build this, we need to use one of the packages that we installed earlier. I'm about to show you. If I can close this. Okay, so we can go to our package.json, and this is the package that we need to build. What the heck? Oh yeah, sorry, silly me. Of course, I forgot. I'm hiding that section on smaller screens. So I will only show that section, this section right here, counters. As you can see, there's no counters in here because they only appear, they are only visible on larger screens. There you go. So basically, small and medium-sized screens, we do not get this information. And anything above that screen size, we get it. So this is what we are trying to build now. So let's do this, and this is us, the tutorial. So you know the package name, and as I mentioned it a few times already, you will get access to this code. Okay, so let's continue. So The new component, the metrics, it's actually have a similar format to the header and the footer. We'll have the JSX file and the JS file. So let's see what I mean by that. So we can start by creating the metrics data folder that will hold the main file, which is going to be metrics.jsx, and the usual shortcut. Okay, cool. And still inside this folder, I'm gonna create a new file called metricsdata.js. Okay, see? Cool. So obviously I'm gonna supply you with this array containing these 3 objects, and we will have to get this information inside this file. So that's what we are about to do now. So I can just close this maybe. Yeah. Because we are going to be using this metrics, this React CountUp package, that means that we need to use the use client at the top to change from a server-side component into a client-side component. You know all of this by heart now, hopefully. I'm not gonna actually manually import this. To be faster, I'm gonna copy-paste my imports. Cool. Of course, this is the package and this is the JS file. Okay, this is not going to be that hard, I guess. So let's start. So this div that you should actually use a section. Div is not wrong, but section is better. So let's style this class name. As I said, it starts as hidden, as I showed you, but on larger screens onwards, I will display this section. And we also need to import this inside our root file. So we need to go to page and put this metrics so we can actually see it on the screen. Should be all good now. Okay, so let's close this and let's continue. So I'm gonna need a div. I'm gonna style this div. And inside this div is actually where I'm gonna map through this JS file in order to render the data. Okay. So I want to map this. And if we check inside that file, we get access to the ID, the start at starts at this number, ends at this number, and we get the description, which is the text. And we cannot see this because, of course, we are on a smaller screen. But I showed you this already, so no worries. You know what we are doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna access the ID, start at, and at. I'm just destructuring the properties. Of course, as usual, every time we loop through, we map through the information, we need to provide a key, which needs to be an unique value. And I'm using the ID because in our case, inside the object, the ID is of course always unique. Okay. So let's style this outer div. Text left. Okay. should be good. In here now I'm gonna have a span. This span, it's going to be simple, just a plus sign. I'm gonna style it a tiny bit. Class name, margin right of 2. Okay. We will not be able to see it like this. We need to enlarge this and we need to go to the correct tab. And we start to see something, just because we have 3 objects, we get, of course, the X 3 times. So, yeah, coming along. And now we need to use this count up, right? And we need to define stuff. So we use that count up. Cool. And we define the start. So the start is going to be start at. The end, I better put it vertically so you see it better. The end is going to be end at these props, right? The duration, you can play with this number. The duration is going to be 1.3, and you can play with these numbers. And I want to enable the scroll spy, exactly. And I also want to style this a tiny bit. So text, whitex, dark, green. I want to have a font of 600 and a text of 2XL. And on LG breakpoint onwards, I want to change my text size to 4XL. So I want to make it quite bigger. I believe this is almost done. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah. So we just need to now add the text, the description. It's the last property that we have defined here. Okay. So this is all good. Not visible on smaller screens, only visible on larger screens. Good. So I need a span. So I'm gonna need a span, and I'm gonna style it. Margin left of 2. In case you're wondering why did I not hard-coded everything inside this file, the reason is at the end of the day you're using React, okay? And one of the core aspects of React is that you split things into small bits and sometimes even smaller bits. I believe I explained you this already. Which means this component is only responsible for mapping through a JS file and rendering whatever information is inside that file on the screen. And of course, we add the style with the help of Tailwind. So my point is, if you want to change this component, you do not have to change this file. You go to the correspondent JS file, and if you want to change this number or add another number, I'm going to actually duplicate this for a second so you see it. I'm going to add just 4, 4, 4, 4, whatever. You will see that this adds up. The UI, it's not going to look great, but see, my point is you want to split things, right? So it's way easier for you to manage this information on a JS file that you can quickly and easily update. See? Instead of going inside the file and look for the correct place and do what you have to do. So this is just done like this because at the end of the day we are dealing with React, and this is what you should be doing in React. And I'm remembering that one of the use cases that I saw already doing things like this is when you have a slideshow. For example, you have your hero section and you have a slideshow, and you build it in a similar way to this. You create your JSX file, right, for the styling and all of that. Then you map through a JS file, and that JS file will have the URL link to the image, the alt tag, the description maybe, and whatever. So this is why I'm doing things this way. And this is actually a really nice way to do things, and a way more professional way to do things. So yeah, trust me, you are in good hands, and you should do things like this as much as possible. So I believe we have finished one more bit, yeah, and now it's time for us to move on to this part. So let's continue building this project together. Okay, as we can see, we only have 2 more components that we need to build in order to finish this project. This one that I will be calling Join Us Today, and of course lastly the footer. So let's move on and let's build this one. Okay, so I'm gonna shrink the screen size, and we are going to create a new component. And one more time, we need to import this component inside our root page, of course. So import, and we can copy this, duplicate this one, and replace it by the component. So we do not need to come back to this file anymore in this tutorial, because of course the footer is already imported inside the layout file. Okay, so last time visiting the root page. So let's build this one. This one, it's going to be also simple. I mean, not simple, but usual. The imports, as you can see, it's the usual stuff. I'm just importing this icon from the React icons that we have installed earlier. Okay, apart from that, we will be using a gradient. Okay, and that's it. But the gradient, I will show you another way to apply this gradient. So yeah, we will create our gradient and we will use it in a different way. But I'm gonna show you. So maybe I better go with that first. That means we will have to go to the Tailwind config file, because we are going to configure that gradient inside the Tailwind config file. Oh, and I have done that already. Okay, so this gradient that you see here is actually coming from this information. Okay, and I did this already and I forgot. No worries. So even faster. Just go back in the video and you will see how I did it. Okay. So now I'm a bit lost. Yeah. So let me just set up everything. Join Us Today. Again, should be a section. Not that the div is wrong, but the section is better. And I'm gonna start by styling it. Class name. And then I'm gonna have a div in here inside this section. Can I have a div, please? There you go. I'm gonna style it right away so I do not forget. And now I'm gonna actually use the BG gradient that we defined inside the Tailwind CSS config file. It's called BG green. Let me see if I can see gradient. There you go. See, this is coming from the file, the config file that I showed you. Okay, cool. That was the detail that I want to mention to you. Otherwise, you would look for this class inside Tailwind documentation and you couldn't find, of course. So on MD, I'm gonna change my padding, horizontal padding to 16. And also on MD, I'm gonna change my vertical padding to, oops, these need to be together, to 12. And I want to add rounded 3XL. I need to use the view word wrap so you see what I'm typing and I also see what I'm typing. Okay, in here, what am I going to need? I'm gonna need like one main div that will contain two divs. So div. Okay, this outer div, this time we'll not be using flexbox. We'll be using the grid. So class name, I'm gonna use grid, not flex, grid. Items center. And on LG, I want my grid to grow up to 2 columns. Okay? We see it. We start to see what we are doing. So the other div, it's where we're gonna have like the button with a link and all of that. I'm gonna style it. Class name. And I'm actually gonna copy paste my link that contains the icon and all of that good stuff. And I should see it. Boom, there you go. And as you can see, and as I mentioned it a few times already, I'm sending the users to the official website. So if I click here, I'm gonna open the official website. And you should visit the official website, by the way. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that, but it's super fair for me to mention the source. Okay? And this is done actually. So I believe this is all good. Oh no, I messed up again with the class because as you can see, it's the max width, I believe. So let me just quickly check this. Max width 7XL. There you go. There's a typo here, then I'm gonna fix this, and this should, see, done, boom, done, yeah. Typos happen all the time. So this is good, this is all working. The last thing that we need to do is to work on our footer, of course, and then we are done with this project. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, time to build our last component, the footer that we have right here. And this is the final version, of course. So I'm gonna actually close this tab. I don't need it anymore. And just as a reminder, the footer also has information inside this array. So once again, we will be mapping through all of this information like we did before in order to display the information on the page. Okay, that out of the way, really is time for us to work on the footer. So as usual also, I'm gonna start by pasting some imports that of course I know that we will need. And let's build this. So instead of div, in this case you actually want to have the footer tag, not a section, not a div, the footer tag. And okay, all good. And now let's work. I'm gonna style this footer, class name. Okay. Now I'm gonna need a div. So let's grab a div. Okay. Let's style this div, of course, using flexbox, class name. And inside this, I'm gonna have another div, so I'm actually gonna put it like this. I'm gonna have another div, okay, and this div will hold my link in my SVG file. So I'm actually gonna copy paste. As I showed you before, this SVG file is quite big. So view word wrap, as you can see, it's quite big. So I'm gonna close it. There's no point to leave it like that. Below that, I'm gonna have a p tag, and I'm gonna paste the text inside, and then refresh this page. So we start to see, there you go. We now start to see our footer. Now, what we need to do is to map through the JS file. So this footer data, see, we want to grab the footer data and want to map through this file. And if we check inside the footer data, we'll have the ID, the title, and the links. Okay, so we can actually, similar to what we did previously, we can go ahead and destructure this, and it's going to be ID, title, and links. So we destructure this ID, title, links. I think this is correct, and I need to use an arrow function in here, and in here I'm gonna get a div, cool, like we did before. And let me just see what I need to do. So now I want to pass the title and the links. So the first thing, I'm going to use an H4 for the title, for the heading, of course. And I'm going to be passing the title inside this. Okay, not like that, like this. And I need to style it also. And right below this, we now need to map the links. Okay, let me just think. The links, exactly. So we are mapping ID, title, that's what we used so far, but now we want to get access to this links array. And then once inside this links array, we'll get access to the other information, okay? Like the link name, for example. Okay, I will show you, maybe it's easier. So what I do want to do now is to map through one more time. So it's like a nested mapping. And I now want to access links because I am already inside the footer data. And I want to map them. And one more time, I want to destructure the properties that I want to access to, which is ID, name, and link. So ID, name, and link coming along nicely, I believe. There you go. Yeah, this is not done, but now we see all the links. Okay, but this is all messed up because we are not using any styles or anything. So let me see. So the key is the ID, the href. Because I'm linking to the official website, I want to use my target to be blank, so it opens on a new tab. And I also want to use rel no referrer. I think it's like this. 2R. This is one too much. Okay. And obviously I need to style this, so I can actually style it right here. So class name. So this, oops, what am I doing? Sorry, class name. And okay, this is looking way better. Okay, let me just, okay, this is looking way better. If we check 3001, I think the project is still running, it is. So we did this part, so we need to add the border and the bottom part of our footer, but this is looking good, I believe. So I'm actually going to paste this right here, and I'm going to put this back. Actually have a look and compare the two. Okay. Yeah, this is looking good. Looks good to me. So we need to now add this border. Let's see. Add the border. Okay. This looks all good. The border, it's just a div, so I'm gonna copy paste this. So let me check. So yeah, we get the border. So yeah, definitely working. So we are just missing the last bit of the footer, which is another div actually. So we need to have another div. So I'm gonna separate this a tiny bit. And I can go ahead and not a div, come on. Okay. And then I can style it. Class name. So one div, two divs. Yeah, we need a couple of divs. Boom, boom. Class name. So the first div is actually going to get the information on the left, this bit. So I'm gonna copy paste this so it's a bit faster. Nothing really impressive here. There you go. Now we just need to add the icons on the right hand side, which is also not that hard. But one more time, we're gonna need to loop through this information. Social media, footer social media, these icons, okay? So I can and must go through this dot map because I want to map through this. And one more time, I'm going to destructure the properties that I know that I'm going to need, which is the ID, the icon itself. Oops, not like that. The icon itself and the social link. Social link. So style this class name, text to be to Excel, and I also want the target to be blank, and in here of course I need to provide the icon so we actually see things. And there you have it. Looks like all good. So if I hover, it's all good. If I hover, it's all good. And we see the links. If you check the bottom left, you see these footer links, they are all pointing to the official website. Okay. And they work. And if I click here, I will open YDEX Facebook, as you can see. So yeah, we were able to finish this project. If you enjoyed these type of projects, make sure to let me know in the comments below, because my channel is in the phase that I'm still trying to figure out what type of projects I will bring. So I need your help to make those decisions. So yeah, Next.js and Tailwind are definitely tools that I want to still use. But I'm also thinking about moving forward and do full stack projects. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, of course, share the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment, do all of that good stuff, and obviously consider subscribing to the channel. See you on the next video. Bye!